What's going on, guys?
Welcome to another episode of the Expose and Expand podcast show. Your main star, as always, Jeremy Himothy Mathis.
Bro, why you keep coming up with this stupid behind introduction? Nobody want to hear that. People want to know about me. I'm your main host, your man with the plan, your hostess with the mostest, Joshua. And again, welcome to the Expose and Expand podcast show, where we expose you to the things, the peoples, the ideas, the strategies, the struggles, the failures, any experiences that have gotten us from zero to million. So, Jerm, what are we talking about today?
Hold on, even before we talk today, I ain't gonna lie, boy, you got the little, you dripped out today. Stand up, let them see you real quick. Stand up, you little dripped out today. That boy got it on today. Okay. Boy, put it on today.
You already know it. Yeah. And you know, before we continue, we gotta introduce money, man.
Yeah. So, guys, if you're listening in on one of the on the platforms, you won't be able to see money. But for the last two episodes, money just been sitting here. We ain't introduced our boy. So, money is what is called the bonsai tree. And the bonsai tree, I'm gonna expose y'all to something. The bonsai tree represents wealth and abundance. And we have money here, so y'all understand what we talking about: wealth, abundance, and exposure, right? So that's why we have money here. And y'all just going to see money grow with us.
Yep.
So what's up, money? Money, say what's up. What's up?
All right, man, let's get going, man. Let's jump into it.
All right, so today, guys, we're talking about a topic that is very, very true and dear to us. We didn't understand how important this was until COVID happened. You know, for the longest, we just did things the way that we were doing things. And this topic really was a life changer. It was game changer for us. And today we're talking about wealthy relationships. Wealthy relationships. Yes, guys, we're talking about relationships and the importance of relationships and how relationships have gotten us to where we are today. We want to expose you guys to that. So yeah, we're talking about wealthy relationships.
Let's jump into it.
So essentially what we want to do is give you guys stories about how some of these relationships that we have helped us, how they've guided us, how they've gotten us to where we are. And the first one that we want to talk about is one of our mentors. His name is Kenny. I ain't gonna say his last name, but his name is Kenny. And Kenny is someone who is a very wealthy individual.
Even before we start talking about the stories, I think we need to help people understand the importance of relationships.
Yeah,
but even before we talk about that, what's more important, you think? Wealthy relationships or having like relationship capital or financial capital? What's more important?
Man, for me, any day of the week, I would take relationship capital. Just understanding, because before we used to always think money was everything. Yep. Money. And then with COVID hit, we had to really rely on a lot of relationships to get us through COVID. Because for us, when we wasn't focused on relationships, and we just think about all the relationships that we squandered.
Yep.
We had relationships with some of the top CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, people that we were able to meet in college that we just did not keep up with, and it affected us. It hurt us. So if you don't understand relationships, you are truly missing out on life. And this is actually something that, me and Ash we're constantly talking about. I'm trying to get her to understand the power of relationships. You think about the concept of this show, expose and expand. Yeah. Exposure leads to expansion, right? For us, we know the power of relationships because we know we've seen what it's done in our lives. We've seen time and time again, how people have come through for us. But just think about the person that doesn't have somebody in their corner. Like I'm in Ash ear every day. Ash, I'm being intentional. Look at what a relationship did for me today.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to help her understand that.
No, it's so important because I think about our journey and what has gotten us to where we are today and what's going to help us grow to where we're trying to get to in the future. Yeah. And by far, on top two and not number two is definitely been just having those wealthy relationships and having relationship capital, people that we can call on and depend on. And it's not even just talking about business, it's in life. Yeah. It's spiritual, it's as fathers, as husbands, as every area in our life, just understanding how relationships are just so important.
So for the person that doesn't understand the power of relationships, the power of building relationships, the power of having great people around them, what's at stake for them, in your opinion, if they don't go out and build relationships?
They're going to stay stuck. It's hard to grow if you're not around the right people. It's hard to grow if you're not around people who can expose you to something different, who can expose you to bigger things, who can challenge you. That's another thing about having wealthy relationships. Yeah. People that's going to challenge you on your thoughts, your belief systems, people that's going to say to you, like, when you messing up, hey, you tripping.
Yeah.
You messing up. Hey, I think you need to do this.
Yeah.
People who are just going to keep it real, raw, and 100 with you.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think is at stake for people who are not seeking new relationships and not, putting a lot of energy towards their relationship capital?
You hit the nail on the coffin. Your life is at stake if you don't have relationships. You really think about how often we've gotten ourselves out of trouble. How much trouble we could have got into business, personally. How much trouble we got ourselves out of just being able to pick up the phone and call somebody that we have a relationship and ask for help. So what's at stake if you don't build relationships is your life. You really think about it.
Yeah.
Like we've gotten out of so much trouble. We've been able to get into opportunities. Our life has changed because of our relationships.
Yep.
So what's at stake is your life. If you don't start building these relationships and start understanding how important they are.
Facts.
So money, you good? And boy say you gave me a little nod. So
come on, let's get it.
So we want to talk about we want to give you guys some stories about how relationships have helped us. And the first story we want to talk about that we want to highlight is with somebody named Kenny, which I said earlier. Now, Kenny, he's somebody who's very wealthy. He doesn't need anything from us at all. And him and his family, they are great and amazing people. Having this relationship with him has helped us so much. Like when we had that company, Dr. Clean, we was growing the company, but we needed a trademark. And he was like, wait, when we told him about the idea, we went to lunch with them. We was telling him about the idea and what we were doing. He was like, oh, man, that's a really cool name. Have y'all trademarked that yet? Trademarked it? Nah. Like right now, we're putting all the money into marketing. We're putting all the money into growing the company. We just don't need, we don't want to do a trademark. We don't want to spend money on that. And he was like, dude, like what happens if somebody gets your company, they get the name of your company, you're building this brand, and then the biggest thing that he highlighted, you guys want a franchise. One of the top things about franchising is you need a brand.
Yeah.
The way you protect your brand is through a trademark. So going to lunch with him and having that relationship helped us understand the importance of getting a trademark. And he helped us. He stepped up. He said, listen, guys, I understand. I've been where you guys are. I've been 22, 23, struggling, trying to figure it out, trying to grow my company. So here's what I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to cover the trademark. I'm going to pay for everything. And that's exactly what he did. So paying for that trademark was one of the many things that helped us in our life. And when you think about it, when we sold the company, one of the first things when we sold Dr. Clean, one of the first things that the buyer asked for was, hey, do you guys have a trademark on the name? I need a trademark.
Yeah.
If we didn't have a relationship, would we have been able to sell the company?
Yeah. But I want to take it back a little further than that. When we were in high school and we was able to get exposed and build those wealthy relationships with people and friends from high school, our dentist as a relationship from high school, an attorney, somebody we met in high school.
Yep.
And then even so, when we transferred high schools, the relationship that we got with the Brody family, really, really changed our life, gave us a different outlook on life, allowed us and exposed us to see something different, right?
Yeah.
From him putting us on our first, it's all relationship driven. From him putting us on our very first plane, to helping us set up our first bank account, to saying, hey, to teaching us about taxes, to then from there helping us go out and helping us understand the importance of sales and marketing, right? He showed us, because you really think about it, we got exposed early on to the importance of relationship, because he had a partner in his business. The partner was in charge of operations, and he was the person who was supposed to drive sales. And how did he drive sales? It was just all through relationships. All through relationships. Yeah. Multi-million-dollar business built off of relationships.
But you think about, and this is why I love our message, because people don't think about exposure until it's too late. They don't think about relationships until it's too late, right? We had that relationship with them, and he told us, gosh, the way that I built my business was off relationships.
Yep.
We were 21, and we still did not get how powerful it was. He's telling us, guys, I built a multi-million-dollar company purely off relationships. We still didn't get it, because he told us what it was, but he wasn't intentional about telling us this is so important. This is going to help you in your life. He just told us what it was. He didn't help us understand it. So for me, I want to make sure that we tell them and our audience and help them understand the importance of it. This is critical. That's why I say it's critical to your life. Yeah. Another relationship that really helped us start to understand the value of relationships was another mentor, Beth. During COVID, We got on. I was telling her about our struggles, what we was going through right at the beginning of the COVID, and she started to help us understand, like, guys, this is what I've been trying to tell you. This is what I mean when I say relationships. This is what I mean about keeping up with people, checking in with people,
Facts.
saying hello, and continue to build on that.
Yeah.
Because that was that moment where it really started to click. Wow. I remember I got off the phone and I called you. I'm like, Josh, like, we got to start doing better at building relationships because, yeah, we making money, but at some point, our money is going to tap out. We need to go out and get more money. At some point, we're not going to be able to do what it is that we need to do in business. So therefore, we need to have healthy, powerful relationships that can help us in business. Just think, her being intentional about it really changed the trajectory of our life. And I want to make sure that we're very intentional about helping people understand the importance of wealthy relationships.
I think too, though, I want to be intentional and help people understand that in life, you have to unlearn and relearn certain things.
Yeah.
We had to unlearn the fact of that no new friends mentality because the way that we were raised in our neighborhood and our family and our friends was like, oh, no new friends. That's my day one. That's my day one.
Yeah.
But if your day one ain't really your day one, meaning they supporting you, they holding you accountable, they're challenging you, then is that really your day one?
Yeah.
Right, so we gotta unlearn that to me it's a negative term. My day one, no new friends. Nah, you need new friends. You need people that's gonna push you. You need people that's gonna challenge you because that was an obstacle that we had to overcome for a long time. We was not seeking new relationships.
Yeah, well, you like, I don't know you.
Yeah,
and you think about how we were raised, like to think like that was okay.
When we transferred to university school,
and
kids came up to us, "How you doing? I'm Joshua Mathis."
How you know? Yeah,
and they was like, "Well, what the hell wrong with you, boy?"
Yeah,
like, where I'm from, you get.
I don't know you.
I'm gonna give you a little one too.
Yeah.
But and we went to Coach here again. The importance of having good relationships. He came to us. He was like, "Guys, this is life. Like, you need to meet new people. You need to get around people that want to challenge you, that want to see you, that wants to see you to grow." But I think for some people, because we had this struggle as well, and I want to talk about it so that we can help our audience overcome it. Is how do you even build relationships?
I think for us, it's a number of ways you can build relationships. First and foremost, one of the things that we do to build relationships is on people's birthdays. We're very intentional about this. So when we know it's somebody's birthday, we're not sending them a text message. We're either trying to call them or we're sending them a video text message on our phone. Hey, what's up, Josh? Man, happy birthday. You mean a lot to me. I'm happy that you got to sit another year, et cetera, et cetera. And people really value that because everybody else is texting. Who's taking the time out to call or to send a message to somebody? It's something that's so different. And I know that's one thing that has helped us build relationships, just remembering people's birthdays.
Yeah, but to that point is a relationship that taught us that, right? Because Mark, he started to do that. And he was like, man, that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And we started to do the same thing. But I think one of the key things that you need to focus on when building relationships is value. You need to add value first, because so often people come into relationships or they come into a situation where they're trying to get to know somebody, they're trying to do business with them, and it's all about what that person can do for me as opposed to, hey, how can I serve this person? How can I help this person? So one thing that I got to give us credit for is we're very intentional about helping people. Sometimes I think we help people too much, but that's another story for another day. But I think being intentional about driving value to that person that you're trying to build that relationship with, and if you focus on the value that you can provide that person, everything else will work itself out.
Another way that we build relationships that we learned in college, from Jade. When you meet somebody, send them a handwritten note. Just think about that. How often people, the first time we meet them, we have a meeting with them, we are intentional about grabbing their address so that we can just write out a card. Man, really enjoyed the meeting. This was awesome. I'm looking forward to building a relationship with you. And we're sending them a handwritten card. Nobody else is doing, like, not a lot of people are taking the time out to really put pen to paper and put a stamp on the envelope, go to the post office or go to the mailbox and drop that off. But that has helped us so much because the people that get that card, I would say 90% of those people have called us. Oh man, that was very touching. That was very cool. And then if you make the call really unique, that's something that they can put up on their wall, something that they can keep, something that they can remember you by, which leads me to another point of how we build relationships, which is gifting, giving people gifts. Any special occasion, you open up your office, you got a new addition to the family.
You got a new home.
You getting married, whatever. If we know about a special moment, we're trying to get you a gift, because more than likely, what we're going to get you is something that you're going to walk by, something that you can use, and every time you use it, who you thinking about?
Yeah.
This pretty face right here. That's another way that I think that something else that we do that's really well that helps us build relationships.
One thing I want to talk about, because we struggle with this, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that's watching struggle with the same thing. So we talked about, okay, how to build a relationship, but where can I go to build a relationship? How can I meet new people? Because I think a lot of people don't build new relationships and new friendships because they don't know where to go to build those wealthy relationships.
I think the first thing is to get outside your comfort zone.
Yep.
And I don't even want to tell somebody specific place. Go someplace you've never been to, a place where you're going to be very uncomfortable. Go there first. Because you think about walking up, for the way that we grew up, walking up to somebody, that was a whole chore to go up and introduce ourselves. Because before that, before we learned, like, you have to do that or you should do that, that was tough for us.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that you do, think about a place that will make you really, really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Something that'll really stretch you. And when you're there, you feel antsy. You feel a lot of anxiety. I would say go there and just go. I would say you ain't even got to talk. Just go. I think people being exposed to something new will help them. And then they see it. And then before you know it, somebody going to walk up to you and say something to you.
For me, you don't even got to get that technical. Everywhere you are, you should be looking to meet new people. The grocery store, the car wash, your kid's school, because you never know who's there. You never know who you're talking to. Yeah. And just get used to talking to people. Get used to introducing yourself to people in your daily activities, because for some people, it may be challenging for them to go out and go to an event and or sit at a bar and meet new people. If you're at the grocery store going down the aisle, you get what I'm saying? If you see somebody, if they have a certain
fresh,
thing,
well, you good. You look good.
If somebody has on a certain shirt or something where it's a company logo, hey, you work at Coca-Cola? Or let's say, for instance, they have a Coca-Cola shirt on. Hey, do you work at Coca-Cola? Maybe they don't, but you're just getting yourself used to stepping outside your comfort zone and just starting conversations with people, because you think about in our life, how many times just by starting a conversation have we built the wealthy relationship? I could think of one off the top of our head. The 12 units. The 12 units.
Yes.
Anywhere you go, you can build a relationship that you can capitalize off of.
Yeah, so I think I want to tell that story actually about how that relationship added literally $1 million to our net worth. That one relationship in the Home Depot. So to Josh's point, I was at home going anywhere you are, you should be starting conversations, seeing what people have going on. I'm at Home Depot and I see this guy pick up a for sale by owner sign, and I instantly asked him, "Hey man, what are you looking to sell?" He told me what he was looking to sell, and I lived in the area, so I knew he was asking too much for it. And I asked a very important question that we ask anybody that we're buying real estate deals from: do you have anything else that you're looking to sell? He proceeds to tell me, yes, I actually have 12 units. I have 12 units in Broward County. I instantly said, I'll buy it. He said, you don't know what it is. I say, listen, Mr. Bob, my brother and I were looking about multifamily. I'm sure you're a nice guy. I feel our energy. We'll be able to work together. I asked him for his number. He gave me his number. Say, call me next week. I called him next week, and we just kept talking. I kept building that relationship with him, because I knew that we at the time we didn't have in our mind we didn't have the wherewithal to go down and take down a $1 million plus deal. So
and this was 4 years ago now. 4 years ago,
probably about 4 or 5 years ago. So I knew that we were going to have to get seller financing. So as I'm talking to him for the next couple of weeks, months leading up to the transaction being completed, I'm just building understanding what's going on in his personal life, understanding his struggles, understanding where he came from, and really taking real interest, a real interest in what it is that was going on in his life. And he felt that. I know that he did. And one day, I just asked him, hey, we've been talking, and I really want to buy these units. At what point are you going to sell? He said, man, I'm ready to sell. And I know he helped us, because he could have got you think about it, building that relationship, he could have got way more money than what we paid him for those 12 units. People will call us, brokers, how did y'all get this deal? I've been chasing this guy down for years because he was the original owner of the building when the building was built in the 70s.
Yep.
And he sold it to us like 2019 or whatever. So brokers had been reaching out to him. How did you, and they reached out to us, how did you guys get this? We've been trying to get this. I at the time, I didn't even understand it. But now I understood because I actually took time to build a relationship with the guy. To wrap up the story, he wanted one price. And I told him, man, that's a little bit too much. That's outside of our.
Tell him what the price was. He wanted 1.7. He wanted like 1.6, 1.7.
Yeah, he like wanted 1.6. He wanted like 1.6, 1.7. I don't remember. It was over 1.5 that he wanted for it. And we essentially ended up buying those 12 units for $1,050,000.
Yeah.
So because of the relationship, I was able to get this guy to go down from like over 1.5 asking price all the way down to $1,050,000, all of a relationship. And the best thing about this deal is because of the relationship, we got the guy to hold paper, meaning we got the guy to seller finance this deal because we didn't have the wherewithal to go out.
We didn't have the money.
we didn't have the money to go out and go get a loan from the bank, and we didn't want to bring in partners on this deal. We really wanted to do this deal by ourselves. It was a good swing at the bat for us. So because of the relationship, the guy seller financed the deal, and he wanted 20% down. Because of the relationship, we only put 10% down on $1 million plus building, and now we own an asset. We brought it for $1,050,000. That's now worth 2.7 right now. Yep. All off of relationships.
But one key point that you made was in building that relationship was we took interest in his life.
Yeah.
It wasn't just transactional. We understood him. We understood his family, his kids, what he was doing down and his other properties that he owned down south.
Yeah.
Trying to add as much value as we can.
Yeah.
So you said brokers was like, oh, how did we get the deal? How did we get the deal? Because most of the brokers that called him, they were just focused on just getting the deal and helping him sell the deal. We took interest in his life. We started talking about other things outside of real estate.
Yeah.
So I think that was another point too that we need to hit on and help people understand, like, and expose people that, guys, when you're building these relationships, stop looking at, okay, what can I get out of the relationship, and ask yourself, okay, how can I add value to this relationship? And then naturally, I think there's something in our subconscious mind that says like, man, this person helped me. So you just subconsciously feel indebted to pay that person back.
Yeah.
That's just how we're wired. Well, most of us are wired as human beings.
My boy. You stepped up big from that first episode. When you fumbled, you've been doing pretty good. You've been dropping gems.
Like I told you, and everybody in the audience, I'm the star player of this. I'm the star player.
Okay.
When I need to show up, my boy, I'm going to show up.
And I ain't going to lie, you showing up. You got your little drip on today. You dropping gems. I see you over there.
My boy, we need to let the audience know you don't woo them pants almost every episode, my boy. Hey, about time to change it up, my boy. Time to change it up now.
Hey,
you ain't got another pair of pants in your closet.
Listen. But one of the things that you talked about was taking interest in people's life and really helping people and serving people.
Yeah. Which
I want to tell another story about that same 12 units.
Yep.
We emptied out our bank account to go out and buy these units. We had, like, I'm talking about empty, like zero. We told him all the money we had. We gave him all the money to go out and buy it, which I would not advise you to do, but we did that because we Josh and I, we believe in ourselves. We always bet on ourselves. We made a mistake in that we didn't inspect every single unit. Once we purchased the building,
inspect meaning, guys, we didn't get in every single unit before we bought the building.
Out of the 12 units, we had only gotten into 10, and there was a reason why they wanted to make sure we didn't get into those other 2 units. Long story short, once we bought the building, just everything just started to fall apart. Like everything week after week after week. My toilet broke. This broke. My
plumbing back there.
My
roof leaking.
The roof leaking. At one point the roof, one of the roofs collapsed.
Yep.
In one of the units. And again, we didn't have no money. We had $0 in our bank account, right? And the rents were so low that we were just barely covering the mortgage. So we had to go in and we had to fix up units, get new tenants in that's going to pay a higher rent. How you going to do that with no money? The reason why we was able to do this, I remember getting this call. I remember this like it was yesterday. one of the tenants called and they said something's the roof is leaking. Something happened in their unit where we had to do some work. Again, we had no money. I called my contractor who we had a relationship with, and now this is a guy who we worked with him on, like, at that time about 40, 50 houses. He's flipped with us as the main contractor, and he knew one thing that he loved about us, he never had to call for his money. We called him when it was time to pay, and we always did what we said we was going to do. Now we're in this bind. We're in this bind where we need to get this unit fixed for the tenant so nothing bad happens. We ain't got no money. I literally remember feeling just sadness and just like a feeling of like, man, why did we do this? I ain't even have the power to call me. I ain't even have the power to call Josh because I was just so broken because every day it was something new and I was the one that was managing it. And I remember Lawrence being there and I said, Lawrence, he was telling me how much it cost.
Lawrence is our contractor.
Yeah, Lawrence is our contractor. I said, Lawrence, give me a minute. I walked further down to the sidewalk. I sat on the side of the sidewalk and just started crying. And he just saw me weeping, and I'm actually getting emotional now, but he saw me weeping, and he walked up to me. He's like, man, listen, I know you and your brother, and this is the power of relationship. I know you and your brother, you guys are great dudes. I'm going to help you. You're going to pay me my money, but I'm going to help you. When you guys got the money, I know you're going to pay me. And that was a huge moment for us in our life, because if he did not fix that, I don't know what would have happened to those 12 units. But thankfully, because of having a relationship, always pouring into him, pouring into his business, not only paying him on time, but also giving him other customers and making sure that he can grow his business, he came through for us in that moment when we really needed him. So, gosh, relationship is so, so important. You got any other, like, I got a couple other stories, but you got any other story that you can remember about relationships?
Oh, man, where do we start? There's so many different ones. Like, one that I can think about from relationship, especially in our current business, it's just as we grow and we scale, just having access to capital. Having access to capital to be able to fund our deals, right? Everything that we do, we don't use none of our own money. Yeah. And it's because of the relationships that we've built with these private lenders who give us money on demand. Yeah. Right? So I think that's another thing for anybody that's out there. You're looking to raise money. You're looking to do any projects, man. You want to start asking for the money. The best time to ask for the money is when you don't need it. Right? You want to start building those relationships before you need it so that when a deal and the opportunity does present itself, you are ready. But you think about how we've been able to grow our real estate portfolio all using other people's money, and that starts by having just wealthy relationships.
So somebody's listening to this, they's like, oh, man, you guys been doing this. Tell the audience, how did we even start building relationships for people to trust us?
Yep.
So people would even trust us to give us that money because I just don't want to skip over that. We do real estate deals with zero cash in the deal. Yeah. We bring the deal to an investor, and they give us 100% financing. A lot of people in America don't have that luxury. Yeah. So the person's listening, how do they even get to that point where they can get somebody to trust them to give 100% financing on their deals?
Yeah. Great question. I think it all starts with value, right? We always been value first guys, where it's just thinking about the investors before we think about ourselves, holding the investors' money at a higher standard than we had our own money. So when we first started, we came in and we said, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Investor, I know right now you probably only making anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12% return on your money, but we want to grow this portfolio and we want to be a partner with you. We want you to be a partner with us. So what we can do, or what we can offer you is, if you give us your money, we'll give you interest, we'll pay you monthly while your money is out, and we'll give you a piece of the profits on the back end. And nobody was doing that. Most people were just giving their lenders interest.
You can't say nobody was doing that. Nobody that we knew was doing that.
Correct. But most people was just paying their lenders the interest. For us, we thought long term. For us, we understood the value and the importance of having wealthy relationships. So for those first 10, 15, 20 deals that we did, not only were we paying our investors interest on their money, but they was getting a piece of the profit on the back end. Yeah. And you think about how many people we went to and we told them, hey, this is what we're doing. They told us, man, you guys are crazy. Yeah. Why are you guys doing this? You could just pay them interest. But no, we always been long-term thinkers. We understand the importance of just having those wealthy relationships. And now those same lenders give us over 100% financing on our deals, and because we came in with that mindset and we wasn't hoarding the equity, we wasn't hoarding the profit. As we grew with them and we gave them more than what they expected on their money, we started to be able to dictate the terms on the money that we borrow.
Yeah. But one of the things that you touched on was, you had touched on it earlier when you said, in order to build great relationships, you need to see how you can serve the other person and not be concerned about how you serve. Kind of paraphrasing. We went into this thing. How can we help this investor? How can we serve them?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would tell us, you guys are crazy. Don't do that. Your capital is too expensive. Don't do that. Don't do that. But I just don't want to gloss over kind of what you said, how we kind of dictate our terms now. Like, people don't understand what that means. When you go to the bank is telling you, hey, this is the term, this is what it is, this is what it is. We have a lot of leverage because we've built relationships, we've done what we said we were going to do, we've done it right, we've done it with integrity. Now people trust us and they want to work with us.
Yep.
And we know that because so many times we've heard horror stories from some of our lenders.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, I love working with you guys because some of the other people I work with, they not like you guys. And that's put us, long-term thinking and figuring out how we can put the lender first and serve them has put us in a position to where we are like really doing really well right now because of it.
Another point that I want to hit home at is something that we're going through right now with 5401.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a house that we bought November 2021. Here we are, July 2023, and we still haven't sold that house. Originally, when we bought that house, the lender said, hey, I'll let you guys borrow the money for up to 12 months.
Yeah.
But we built the relationship with them. We've done long-term business with them. And because we're now in this bond, they're being super helpful and super gracious to us. And they understood, like, it wasn't us, it's the city and other issues that came up with the project. But they never foreclosed on the house. They was like, hey, guys, just keep us updated, and we're partners in this. We're going to help you guys out long term. But all that started simply just from the relationship we started building 3-4 years ago.
But you think about it, the interest that we're supposed to be paying them monthly.
Yeah.
Because we're blessed through relationships. We don't pay monthly interest payment to our lenders. We pay everything on the back end. It all happened because of relationships. But if we didn't have a relationship, this project that Josh was just talking about, 5401, we would be every single month, because this is an expensive project, every month since November 2021 all the way up to July 2023, we were supposed to be paying them $5,000 a month in interest payments.
Yep.
And think about that. Some of you guys are thinking about the amount of money that is. I'm thinking about it from a cash flow perspective, how that helps us with the cash flow in our business, and how because of a relationship, we're not burning or like just really burning cash flow every single month.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we touch on that. One other story that I want to talk about is how relationships has helped us get into investments.
Yeah.
I know that's something that you always touch on, and so tell them about how relationships has helped us get into investments.
So I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it's just.
But
like,
just first, so when I say investment, guys, I'm talking about business opportunities. So a lot of times, you guys probably see on social media, oh, this person, they invested into Uber early, or they invested into Snap, or some of these big companies early. If you're like us, you're thinking, how do you even know? How do you even get an opportunity to invest into these companies at an early stage? The way that happens, guys, one thing, wealthy relationships.
Yep.
That's how you get in onto these opportunities where you could make a lot of money and change your family's life, guys. Relationships are so important.
You think about all of the investments that we've gotten opportunities to invest in, and like you said, it all stems from just having the right relationships, being around the right people, and just being resourceful.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times, the things that or these opportunities have come to us, and these opportunities are opportunities that's going to help us build that long-term wealth that we're after.
Yeah.
This opportunity is going to allow us to buy cash flow outside of real estate. Yes, we love real estate. Real estate is our main vehicle, but now we can build cash flow in other areas because, God forbid, if our real estate is ever down, the market ever tanks, we have other cash flowing assets that we've invested to because of relationships that's going to pay us. And also we get to participate on the upside. It's not just the cash flow, but as these companies grow, as these companies scale, as they exit, that 100, 200, 300 that we put in could 10x, 15x, 20x, and think about what that do from a long-term play for us. Like those cash events can, if these companies decide to sell that we've gotten into because of relationships, if these companies decide to sell 5-10 years down the road, think about the cash flow that we've made per month, and then also the upside we get if they sell.
Talk about, that's amazing. So we told stories about how relationships have helped us. We touched on it a little bit, and I want to give people other ways they could build and maintain relationships. We talked about sending handwritten note cards.
Yeah.
We talked about sending video messages on their birthday. Is there anything else that people can do to build and maintain relationships with people?
It's the little things, man. Hey, and it's not being transactional. Hey, how you doing? How your family doing? How your kids doing? Remembering somebody's kid's name, understanding what their business is, what type of business do they operate, right? Because a lot of people don't do that. It's just like with our lenders, we know everything about them. I know about your kids. I know about your husband. I know when you go on vacation, text you, hey, we're thinking about you. Anything that we can help with, always looking to add value.
It's a couple things that I want to touch on that I think we do so well as far as building relationships. Anytime, and we live in Miami.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody come into town, you think about how often we clear our schedule just to make sure that we could accommodate or help people.
Yeah, we get a little woody woo.
We get a little right?
Yeah.
But anytime somebody come into town, how we make sure that they have a good time in our city.
Yeah.
Building relationships. Every time somebody has an event, not every time, but when we can make it, we're going to support. Even if we're not going to get anything from the event, we're going to the event to show support. And so often people think relationships is always about money. A lot of times it's about time.
Yeah.
You think about a relationship with our kids, that's all time. They don't care about no money, they care about time.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with an adult. If you give somebody your time, that means a lot to people.
Facts.
And we do that all the time. Like when somebody, they be letting, a lot of people let us know last minute.
Yeah.
And we make time for them.
Yep.
And people, and it's been so many times where that's come back to serve us from getting into different business opportunities.
Yep.
Getting into just different things that we've done because of relationship. Another thing is supporting people charities or supporting charities that people support.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not even their charity. They don't own it. It's just sometimes supporting their charities is another way that we've been able to build relationships and maintain those relationships. And
then too, guys, I want to make sure you guys understand that relationships in all areas and all aspects of your life, not just business.
Yeah.
You want relationships, wealthy relationship in your spiritual life. You want healthy and wealthy relationships in your parenting life. You want healthy and wealthy relationships when it comes to dating your spouse, because you think about the men that we've become, how we've grown as men, how we've grown as husbands and fathers and as family men, all because of just building those wealthy relationships, having men around us that says, hey, it's cool that y'all crushing in business, but what you doing at home?
Yeah.
How are you with your wife? How are you with your kids? How are you with your family? Yeah. So, guys, I don't want to leave out the importance of building those wealthy relationships in other areas of your life as well, because you think about, again, just the growth that we've had, and especially for us, man, we're big on just becoming better dads and just being around other men that's going to hold us accountable just to be better.
One of the things you just touched on was just how people have helped us become better in life. And one of the things that somebody had to do for us that I want to do for the audience, they gave us permission. Somebody gave us permission to do certain things. You think about so often, people like we don't need the permission, but sometimes somebody else needs to tell you, and they need to give you the permission to do what you need to do in your life. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I'm giving you the permission to let go of old relationships that number one are no longer serving you.
Yep.
I'm giving you permission to go out and step outside of your comfort zone and to go do something different, something that you've never done before. Go meet somebody that you've never met before, and just go out and meet new people and do something different. So you have our permission to go out and to change your life and to start building these relationships, guys. We've gave you countless stories, and there's so many other stories that we can share with you guys about how relationships have been an integral part to our life, our success, our career, and our family.
And the last thing I want to say before we wrap up, and the importance of having wealthy relationships, is being able to borrow other people's beliefs. That has been a huge game changer in our life. Just being around people that believed in us when we didn't believe in ourselves, that believed in the ideas, that believed in our abilities when we didn't have that.
Yeah.
So there's people, that's been another instrumental part of our journey, just being around people that says, hey, I see better in you. I believe in you. Yeah. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can win. Yes, you can do that thing that you're trying to accomplish. So you want to build those wealthy relationships with people also that you can borrow their beliefs, right? Because one of the things that I think hindered us for a long time, we've always been confident and believed in ourselves, but also just not understanding how money works. We always thought it was hard to make money, but once you get around the right people, you get around people who are really making money at a high level, and they expose you to, hey, money's not making hard, and you get to borrow their belief. And then once you start seeing that, okay, money's just energy, money's just really a tool, it's a game changer.
But with borrow belief, it's not even somebody telling you what you can and can't do or what you should be doing. It's being up close enough to them to have their relationship, to see what they're doing, and then realize, wait, Josh put on his pants the same way I put on my pants.
He ain't doing nothing different.
If I cut Josh, his blood gonna be nah, Josh kind of different. If I cut somebody
I'm
else,
that guy. I'm that guy.
If I cut Josh, his blood is gonna be red. So if he can do it, I could do the same thing. And that's another component of borrow belief. Not somebody speaking life into you. Not only somebody speaking life to you, but somebody you seeing what they're doing and just believe and just borrowing their belief that they have in themselves. And you taking that. So I think we need to wrap it up. Money, we did good today, Money.
So look, man, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We talked about the importance of wealthy relationships and having relationship capital, how it has transformed our life and how it can transform your life as well. So if you guys are watching this episode, man, we would greatly appreciate your support. Be sure to like, comment, share, leave us a review and all that other good stuff, man. You got anything else you want to add?
Guys, remember, wealthy relationships, if you don't go out and start building and maintaining wealthy relationships, your life is at stake. Your family is at stake. Do what you need to do legally to go out and to start building relationships, because it will change your life. We are walking testaments of that. We appreciate you guys tuning in today. If this message was impactful, please share it with all of your friends. Share it on social media. Leave a review. Let us know what we did good, what we did bad, how this episode helped you. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Expose and expand. Peace.
Peace.